So random memories. The snapshot of the White Cottage. Before we visited Ireland first. If you saw last week, I had dreamed that dream, just a snapshot, no action, no people, just that photograph of the white end of a cottage with a chimney and a tile roof and the white end of a very small 14-foot wide cottage. So we leave Dublin and we begin to drive. The first night, I think we stayed in a farmhouse in County Wicklow, just a beautiful farm, an amazing dinner, an amazing woman who ran an incredibly well-run little farm and milked the cows and let the boys watch and play. It was just a beautiful introduction to Ireland that night. And then we continued on to the Butler Arms in Sneem, down in County Kerry. The Butler Arms, because it had our name, and I'm sure we are related somehow, but the fact that Walt Disney loved to fish there, as did Charlie Chaplin. And Una Chaplin still had a cottage there when we went there. So we go to the Butler Arms and eat in the pub and saw the pictures of, just fishing pictures of Walt Disney and Chapman from back in the 40s and 50s and 60s. And we take a drive the next day around the Ring of Kerry in County Kerry towards Killarney. And it's breathtaking, it's beautiful, it's indescribable. You have to go, pictures don't suffice. And just down the road from Sneem was CAHERDANIEL, which in Gaelic means the stone fort of Daniel. Daniel O'Connell, the first Catholic member of the Irish Parliament, lived there, had a house there. That was part of a National Trust park. But it had two pubs, a tiny store, and as we passed by into the town, before we were going to stop at the pub, the Blind Piper, for lunch, we came around a sharp curve. They're all sharp curves. And there was a sign on a fence, a little wooden fence, for sale. And it was just steps into some heather down the slope. And we had lunch. And I said, we'll go back up there and see that. And the pub person told us there was a 2nd century stone fort there. And so we drive back up to that little, where the for sale sign was, turned in and parked. I began to walk down this tiny path. And there on our right was this 30-foot wide by 30-foot tall ruin of thousands and thousands of blocks of stone that the Irish had built to protect themselves from the Vikings in the 2nd century. And but to our left, bing, the snapshot. The end of a white cottage, the tile roof, the chimney, the evergreen tree, very dark green. And Jake, who was 4, pulled down his pants and started to pee. Almost on the corner of the cottage, which we weren't sure was occupied or not at this point. And Max said, "Wow, we could live here." And Susie said, "Oh, we should call." And, whoa. I just had these incredible meetings in Dublin. They'd asked me back. It was so exciting, starting a network. I remember Russ Russell saying, now we've got to have news and sports, game shows and soap operas. But after that, we could do anything we wanted. And the studios, gosh, and the cottage. And so I called the next day. And you have to understand, we had just bought 7.2 acres in Williamson County and with some other friends. And their children went to school with our children, and we went to the same church, and we were going to build our house and live there for 30 years. Was the plan. And I called. And the real estate agent, who was the only real estate agent in CAHERDANIEL, and had the only fax machine until I came to town. And it was $90,000 US, a tenth of an acre, a cottage on one level, 4 rooms, a bath, a kitchen. The kitchen was one of the 4 rooms, 2 bedrooms, and just this little octagonal, bay window eating area where you looked out on the islands and Lamb's Head, the point, and the islands went 9 miles out to sea in Darien Bay. And our mountain was called Darien Big. And this bay had been declared a Euro Blue Star Beach Marine Reserve. And the lobstermen could, and the salmon fishermen, and then the salmon farm, which is a great controversy, were just beyond that. And the blind piper made a great ham sandwich boil. Oh, well, it was all over. Sure, they're bloody blow-ins. Blow-ins are people that had lived in this village. There were people from Germany, Lithuania, England, France, opera singers, retired actress from Canada. It was a PBS show. It was CAHERDANIEL.
Who do you see when you come home at night? Who wraps arms around you and holds you tight? And shows you things that you've never seen in the light.